Marisa Peer is a motivational speaker and a leading celebrity therapist, named Britain's Best Therapist by Tatler magazine. She went from growing up as a teenager struggling with an eating disorder for 20 years to becoming a highly paid psychotherapist and hypnotherapist and a best-selling author of 4 books. Need motivation?
What's your top 10 with Believe Nation?
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like 9 and a 9. For my top 10, top 10, 9 and a 9. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person that you know, but you also know that you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Marisa Peer, and my take on her top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Love yourself.
You can only love another person to the degree that you love yourself, and another person can only love you to the degree that they love themselves. And so if you go through life feeling you're unlovable, that will always affect the quality of the relationships you have. And if you date or marry or live with someone who thinks they are unlovable, it's very hard to have a really healthy, great relationship if the person you are with feels unlovable, or if you, at some deep level, think that you are unlovable. And more problems occur from people attracting the wrong relationships, staying in the wrong relationship because they feel unlovable. I see people in my office time and time and time again who are with the wrong person, and they're too scared to leave in case they won't find someone else. They say, well, we've been together for so long, what's the point? But everything changes when you know that you are lovable. And you see, lovability is essential to being happy. And I have many people who go, well, you know, I've never felt love. Being loved is just a foreign country to me. I don't know what love is. I've gone through my whole life never having had love. And Marilyn Monroe, bless her heart, somebody said to her once, Marilyn, what is this thing about you wearing those really tight dresses and dancing in front of all of those soldiers with everything hanging out? She said, and I'm going to quote her word for word, I need the whole world to love me. I must belong to everyone because I've never belonged to anyone or anything in my entire life, and I probably never will. And there was a girl who was beautiful, stunning, engaging. Everybody loved Marilyn except Marilyn. But you see, if you can't love yourself, nothing really matters.
Rule number 2, don't let criticism in.
You do know, don't you, that people who are critical have so much criticism reserved for themselves. They actively dislike themselves, and you're actually showing me and the entire office that you really don't like yourself.
By critiquing me.
Yeah, by critiquing, you're just showing me. Yeah, critical people always have criticism reserved for themselves. They are full of self-criticism, but they reflect it out. And superior people and happy people always praise, and people who feel inadequate always criticize, because criticize withers you, and praise builds you up. And if you can use those 5 techniques, thanks for sharing, could you repeat that? Are you trying to hurt my feelings? Won't work, I'm not letting it in. Since we're sharing, did you know what is running your critical behavior? You don't let it in, and being able to not let in criticism, that too will change your life. It makes you bulletproof. You can't stop people being mean and having a horrible day. And we now have trolling, which is becoming an epidemic. So it's actually worse. Our kids used to get bullied at school and go home to a sanctuary.
Now they're bullied online.
Now they're bullied online, on the phone. And it never ends, and they feel really attacked. And see, when you find trolls, they're usually really miserable and unhappy, but they love the power because they have no power. They live on their own or with their mum. They have no life. I mean, we had a terrible situation in England where somebody was trolling this person whose child had been kidnapped, and when they exposed her, she killed herself. Oh, man. Which was a terrible thing for her, but obviously her sense of shame that she was outed and to kill herself, but she must have felt terrible. I felt so sorry for her. But she was very vicious in her trolling, but that's a really unhappy person. She needed a lot of help. But when you can teach people to come back from criticism without fighting or going, well, I hate you too, or you're shut up, or crying, when you can just teach them, look, I'm not letting it. It's like if I try to give you a gift, you go, no, I don't need that gift. I'm holding the gift. I can't give you something if you don't take it.
Right.
I can't serve papers on you unless you accept them. I can't serve a volley to you unless you volley it back. So when you learn that people can try and give you anything, but if you don't accept it, you haven't let it in. And if you don't let it in, it can't hurt you.
This is
It
fascinating.
just hurts the person who's left holding it.
Rule number 3, reprogram your beliefs.
How do you help people establish meaning behind?
Well, I wrote a book called I'm Enough, and we have a program called I'm Enough, and what that does is it takes you the process of where does this come from? You're not born with this belief. How did you get it? And when they discover how they got it, they're able to give it up. One of my first ever clients was this beautiful woman, very hard to believe, and she said, I can never make a relationship last. And it sounds so silly, but she said that her dad used to say to her every day, you'll never ever find anyone that loves you like me. Nobody could love you like me. You'll never find the kind of love that I have. And he programmed, when you label someone, you limit them. So now she's got an imprint. I'm never going to find love like this love. And guess what she never found? Love like that. And all you have to do as a parent is to say, I love you because you're lovable. And all your life you'll find love like this love because you're worth it. So it's little tiny adjustments that have the most profound effect on people. And it's never too late to say, I'm enough, I can find love. And now if you give someone the power to make you feel good, you give them the power to make you feel bad. And if you do it to yourself, you feel so much better. It makes you slightly bulletproof. You still need other people. We all need other people. But the dialoguing with yourself and starting with I'm enough, I picked that because I found all my clients addicts, bingers, bulimics, saboteurs, hoarders, compulsive shoplifters. They all went back to the same thing. I'm not enough. I need more. And if you feel enough, you start to feel equal. See, most of us feel unequal. You're better than me because you got money, or you're more attractive than me. But no dog or cat says, oh, you're better than me because you're a pedigree. A baby doesn't know that another baby's wearing designer clothes and they're not. They have no concept of that. So really what I'm Enough is doing is reactivating, remanifesting and regenerating what you were born with, an ability to say, I'm enough.
Rule number 4, choose to be happy right now.
Everybody wants to be happy, and we're all looking to be happy. And we seem to have this weird belief that there's some destination we're going to get to one day called happiness, but there's no destination called happiness. There's no terminal you're ever going to arrive at in your life called this is the happy place. If you want to be happy, and why wouldn't you want to be happy? Here's the way to be happy. You got to be happy right now. I see so many people who go, I'll be happy when my kid can walk, when my kid can feed them. So I'll be happy when my kid's gone to school. I'll be happy when. And if you buy into that, I'll be happy when, you're never happy because when never comes. I'll be happy when I'm married, I'm single. And if I could find a great person, I'll be happy. And then you know what you do? You just swap all the problems of being single to having to compromise with somebody else because you have this belief, I'll be happy when. So if you want to be happy, here's how to be happy. Decide to be happy right now. Don't do that. I'll be happy when I get to my holiday. I'm super stressed at the airport. I'm having a manic moment. But when I get there, I'll be happy. Because now you've told your mind that happiness is somewhere you're going to. Tell your mind the truth. I am happy right now. I've decided to be happy in the moment. I'm choosing to be happy. You see, your mind is set up to do what you tell it. And every time you say to your mind, I'll be happy when, it believes that happiness is out there and you're going there, but you might never get there. When you go, I'm happy right now. I'm happy packing. I'm happy at the stress of the airport. I'm happy this minute. I am choosing to be happy. Then your mind understands the truth. Happiness is now. You're not going to happiness. You're not looking for happiness. And by the way, Nobody else can make you happy, while an amazing partner, a great career, a wonderful kid will enhance your happiness. If you give that to someone else, my partner's going to make me happy. Having a baby is going to make me happy. Having a great job where I get recognized is going to make me happy. Getting praise is going to make me happy. Do you know what you're doing? You're giving someone else the responsibility to make you happy. And if you say to them, here you go, you make me happy, that will work for a while, but then, you know what you're giving them? You're giving them power to make you unhappy. I want a little baby to be happy, and I got it, but now that baby is a 14-year-old teenager that doesn't want to speak to me. People say, oh, you know, you make me feel amazing, and then the other side of that is you make me feel so angry and so lonely and so unimportant. Don't give your power to be happy to anyone else. It's up to you. And don't wait to be happy. Choose to be happy right now, in the moment. I mean, look at little children. The rain makes them happy. A puddle makes them happy. Everything makes them happy because they live in the moment. Happiness is an inside job. Go inside you, live in the moment. I promise you, if you make a decision, I'm going to be happy right now, no matter what, and everything I do, you'll train your mind to be happy.
Also, if you want to have more self-love and learn from other successful women entrepreneurs, check out my 254 series. They're free. The links to join are in the description below.
Successful people do what they hate to get to where they want to be. Doesn't matter how talented you are, if you don't have self-belief, you're not going to get anywhere.
Rule number 5, speak up.
What do you think is your greatest challenge that you face internally, personal challenge, as someone who's helped tens of thousands of people personally?
My greatest
and understand
challenge.
all this stuff.
Yeah, I suppose it's not a challenge to get more people to understand it, because people need it. You know, we all need to be nourished. You know, we need nourishment. Our soul needs to be nourished. It's not about organic avocados from Erewhon Market. That's great, but we all need this emotional nourishment. So, is it a challenge getting more people to accept it? I think it is, because everyone I see go, oh my God, I love that. And some people go, you know, I listen to you, thought, oh, that's rubbish. But then I found myself going into the garage and saying nice stuff to myself. So maybe my only challenge, but even then it's not a challenge, is I would say half the medical profession love what I do and really go for it and go, oh my God, this is amazing, I'm using it with my own patients. And the other half go, this is all silly. You know, illness is caused by disease, that you can't talk yourself better. Talking to yourself doesn't make any difference. You can't possibly give birth just using positive affirmations. It's like if you had cancer and you had a very good oncologist who might go, look, you know, the way you think, the way you eat, the way you act, the way you rest can all affect. And they'll go, no, you got cancer, chemotherapy, there's nothing else that will work. And all that stuff is hocus pocus. Right. So that is a challenge, but it's not so much, because I find so many doctors love what I do and go, wow, you know, all these illnesses are autoimmune illnesses. Many years ago, there was a wonderful psychiatrist in London called Dr. Maudsley, and he had a great expression, it's always been my favorite, and it says, the feeling that cannot find its expression in tears may cause other organs to weep. So he knew 100 years ago.
That's beautiful.
So beautiful and so true.
The feeling that
cannot find its expression in tears will cause other organs to weep. So he's sort of saying, if you don't feel the feeling, your body's going to feel it. If you don't open your mouth and say, you hurt me, don't be surprised if you get a screaming. I've got this screaming headache. I've got this angry red rash. I've got this thumping pain. And by the words they're using, angry, screaming, they're saying, I have rage that can't come out.
I'm not expressing it, but it's expressed through my body.
Yeah, because the body is very clever at finding something. People, I worked with someone who couldn't walk, and all she was, I can't stand that. I can't stand my ex, I can't stand my life, I can't stand my kids, and you can't stand up. Isn't that interesting?
Oh, wow.
She had sort of phantom leg pains because she couldn't stand anything. Bulimics also, well, what makes me sick is my sister-in-law. Oh, I'm so sick of her. She just makes me sick. I vomit in my mouth every time I hear her voice, and then they wonder why they're bulimic.
Right.
Because our words really affect our reality, partly because, and it's such an easy thing to say, every word you say is a blueprint that your mind, body, and psyche are working to make your reality. So we make our thoughts, and our thoughts make us. Then we go out into the world and we justify our thoughts every day. But our words are a blueprint. And when you know that, you think, well, I better pay attention to that blueprint. I better not say this kid is killing me. My job is making me want to die. I'm so stressed out by what? The queue in Hughes Market. Well, go to Zimbabwe where there is no Hughes Market, right, and there is no queue, and there's no money to buy food anyway. Then you can say you're stressed, because your problem, the queue in Erewhon and the bill, is someone else's fantasy dream come true. This freeway is killing you. You have a car. You have look at people on 4 buses. I used to take my daughter to school, and I remember one day thinking that, oh my God, this commute is hell. And I saw someone at a bus and thought, how lucky I'm in my car. I've got the heating. I've got a cup of tea. I've got an hour to listen to something. I can talk to my kid. I keep saying I want an hour to myself. Well, here it is. And I learned to stop doing that. But when you say, how are you? Oh, nightmare. It is torture. What? The traffic. Yeah, the traffic, the queue. People keep ringing me. The phone ringing. It's torture. Well, maybe if it didn't ring, that might be worse. Some of my clients or models will say my life is hell because people look at me. It's like, really? Well, one day they won't, and then you might miss it. Yeah, but I get on a plane and guys hit on me, it's a nightmare. Well, put on a baseball hat and glasses, read a book. Over yourself, then they'll leave you alone. But that's not a nightmare, it's just mildly inconvenient. It's not hell. Right. It's not killing you, but we use these incredible words. This is torture, this is killing me, this is a disaster. What is? Well, I went to the bathroom and I forgot to pause my movie. Well, that's not a disaster. But when you use those words, because your mind can't differentiate, just to feel like it really is a disaster.
Rule number 6, command your mind.
Well, most people that come to me don't go, hey, I've come to see you, but I don't want to give up my problem. I mean, they do with food. They go, I want to be super healthy. Okay, you're going to stop eating donuts. I don't want to do that. Have you got anything else? I'm like,
there's a difference between I don't want to do one thing and I want to do it, but I'm not sure I have the energy to see it through.
But you see, the belief is what you're saying is it's work, so much work. It's no work. So what I would suggest for someone like you is just monitor how you speak. Oh, I forgot that. I got a terrible memory. I got that. I didn't miss that. I got a terrible memory. And start to say, I have a phenomenal memory. I have an outstanding memory. I have a reliable, foolproof memory. So I saw it with my daughter when she was little. She'd leave the house and come back because she had so much to remember, her school bag and her swimming stuff and her lunch. And I'd always say, what have you remembered? She goes, I remembered my lunch. I remembered my swimming. I go, that's so great that you remember. And very quickly she went from, oh, forgotten, I've got to go home, my mum's going to be really cross, to, no, my memory's great. At the gate it told me, school lunch, school coat. And of course, if you go to any kid's classroom, you'll see coats and bags. They forget everything. And we never go, well, it's the memory, you see. It disappears with age. And I've been people of 90 who can tell you everything about their childhood and what it was like in the war. So you have to just make a decision to tell yourself, I have an outstanding, reliable, phenomenal, incredible, impressive, foolproof, big words, of course, because you want to excite you. And if you say it enough, your mind's job is to give you that memory and then stop saying, what have I forgotten? Say, what have I remembered? And then something else you do, it's just say, that will come to me. You know, you have to understand the mind a bit. So when you're dealing with a conscious mind, the subconscious doesn't do anything. If you're saying, what's the name of that book or that restaurant? Oh, I don't know, I give up, I've got a terrible memory. And you suddenly go, oh, it's come into my head. It was this book, it was the Tim Ferriss book, I remember now. Because you've given your mind an instruction, what is the name of that book? Your mind will go and find it. But if you are still actively looking, it doesn't do it. So we have something called command therapy. You've got to command your mind. Go ahead and remind me where my passport is. Remind me. And so often it's just really poor communication. You know, people say, oh God, I'm flying to London tonight and I can never fall asleep on a plane. I just can't go to sleep. We're like, well, where are you going? You don't go anywhere. You don't fall. You lie on the plane and you invite sleep to come to you. You go, I'm lying here, my eyes are heavy and sleep's descending upon me like a mist. because it's a misdirect of the mind, because you don't fall and you don't go. But when you say sleep's coming to me, and when I am in different time zones all over the world, I lie in bed and go, right, sleep now, send sleep to me now. I insist on 8 hours of sleep. I need 8 hours, and I tell my mind what I want, but I am very clear, very specific, but not, can I fall asleep? I need to, look at it, I've got to get up in 5 hours. Now I'm stressed. I just give my mind very clear instructions. You do have to train yourself a bit, but if you use those words, my memory is impressive and infallible, your mind knows what that looks like and it will make it real. If you just go, I need a better memory, that's not exciting. So excite it with powerful words and you won't be surprised, or you might, how much better it gets. But you've got to give up this belief that it's work. Because talking to yourself isn't work. Exciting your mind isn't work. Going to the gym is work. But saying every day as you get up, I've got a great memory. I can even imagine my diary and I can see what's in it. If you tell yourself that, it actually really becomes true. And you'll notice that everyone who's got a good memory will say, my memory is amazing. Oh, I have the best memory ever. They never go, I've got a mind like a sieve. I'd forget my head if it wasn't screwed on. I would forget the eyes in my head if they weren't there. But people with a poor memory, they justify it. They remind themselves how bad it is instead of deciding, no, I'm going to have a great memory.
Rule number 7, celebrate tiny wins.
When you wake up in the morning, start going, wow, this tea is amazing. This coffee is sensational. I love the smell of this shower gel. I love the sheets. I love waking up. I had to make myself do this, and it completely changed my life. I wake up and go, I love my life. I love being here. My first coffee, go, I love this coffee. I love my sheets. I love everything. And that's not really true, but if you can make your mind be happy with little wins, every time you eat something, it's sensational. Make a phone call, go, this is great. I'm reading, I'm watching my favorite show. This is amazing. When you sit down at the end of the day to watch Netflix, go, this is amazing. This is wonderful. You're training your mind to celebrate tiny little things. And when you get big things, every day feels like Christmas.
Rule number 8, take risks.
You really can. You can stop being ill. You can change the shape of your body. You can change your digestion. Yeah. You can have physical things. You can change the way you interact with your kids. So here's a good example. My kid is a nightmare. Change that to my child as age appropriate.
There you go.
This builder's going to go, oh my God, that's a disaster. But a good builder will go, it's a challenge. When you said talking to girls is terrifying, you just change that to it's challenging. Yeah. But hey, there's hundreds of girls out there. It's a numbers game. One will say yes.
Some will say hi, yeah.
And even if they say no, the only risk in life is not to take the risk. That's the risk. If you don't, when you take the risk and it goes wrong, you learn something.
Rule number 9, practice delayed gratification.
You may have heard many times about the marshmallow test. And the marshmallow test is an interesting test where they took children, they put them in a room with one marshmallow. It's also been done with one cookie and one pretzel. And they said to the children, if you wait, don't eat that marshmallow, then you will have 2. So they were seeing how good these children were at delaying gratification, because if you can delay gratification, you are wired for success. And they found one group, maybe a third of the kids, just shoved that marshmallow in their mouth straight away and said, oh, I couldn't wait, I needed it now. They needed instant gratification. The second group said, no, I'm going to wait. And they sat there knowing that if they waited, they got 2 marshmallows. The third group, well, they were interesting because they really wanted that marshmallow. They were very much a combination group 1 and 2. They wanted it. They also wanted to wait. As they made funny faces, they turned their chair around, they tried not to look at the marshmallow, and they forced themselves to wait. And they also got the second marshmallow. So group 1, instant gratification. Group 2, naturally delayed gratification. Group 3 were kind of programmed to be group 1, but fought with themselves until they became group 2. They resisted their natural instinct to eat the marshmallow. And what they discovered as they followed those children was group 2 and 3, the ones who delayed gratification naturally or completely unnaturally, were way more successful than group one, that when I need it and I can't wait and I got no self-control, it looks nice, it tastes nice, bam, I've eaten it, and now I kind of wish I'd waited. So I'm telling you this because it does not matter if you are not naturally group 2. It only matters that you can train yourself, teach yourself, and help yourself to become group 2. Because here's the thing, when we're kids, we learn naturally to delay gratification. Our parents say, clean your room and then you can have an ice cream. Do your homework and then you can go to the park. Do your chores and then we'll go out and have cookies. We all do that naturally with children. And then we learn to stop. And you see, if you come in from work and you are naturally a gratification delay, you'll go, wow, my favorite program is on tonight and I'm going to have this wonderful dinner, but first I'm going to go through my emails, do the stuff that's important, and then my dinner and movie is my reward. And what happens is you get through the way you don't do because you're thinking of the reward. You go, this is a reward for doing that. Other people come in and go, no, I'm going to watch a movie, I'm going to have a lovely dinner, and later I do my emails. And of course, later never comes because you had your reward first. And it is a classic mistake to take your reward first.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is create mood boards.
You know, many years ago, I was trying to get a book deal, and I'd put on a little talk about how to lose weight, because my book was all about that. And I hadn't sold hardly any tickets, so I cancelled it. And the same day, my agent called me and went, oh my gosh, I've got 6 different publishers who want to come to your talk. I'm like, well, I've just cancelled it. She went, put it back on, quick, because they're all coming. And it was that weekend, and I think she called me on a Thursday night. So on the Friday, I rang all my friends, everyone. I said, come to this talk, it's completely free. And I got lots of people to come because I knew that 6 major publishing houses were coming to this talk. And she told me one of them was definitely going to give me a deal, if not all of them. So I only had Friday. And on Friday, I could have spent ages planning the talk. But you know, I didn't. I actually made a mood board. I thought that's a good thing. So on Friday night, I had an old picture and I took it out of the frame and I started to stick things in it. And I wrote, Marisa Peer gets a great book deal. I cut out the Times best-selling list and I stuck it in there and wrote on it, my book, You Can Be Thin. And I did lots and lots of pictures like Marisa Makes People Thin. I went through magazines, I cut stuff out, I wrote some checks out there. I made this mood board really exciting, and I just looked at it and looked at it and looked at it. And it made me so excited about my talk. And the next day I went off and I did the talk, and lo and behold, at the end, somebody came up to me and she said, oh my God, I love that talk, and we want you to come in on Monday and we're going to offer you a book deal straight away, and we'd really love you not to meet the other 5 publishers because we want you. So that was very exciting. And in fact, I did end up signing with them, and it all was wonderful. But I know it was that mood board that helped me because it took my mind to where I wanted to be. It made me focus only on success. Of course, a mood board doesn't say things like, well, I might not make it. The mood board has success. So let's imagine you want to be a therapist. That's what your vision is, or a photographer. Maybe you want to be a chef. I want you to imagine you've got a mood board and you fill it up with pictures. If you want to be a chef, pictures of great food, reviews from restaurants, and of course you're going to cross out the name of the chef and write your name in instead in black marker pen. So find lots of reviews and put your name in, and then write all over the mood board too. Let's say your name is Alexandra Richardson. You're going to put Alex Richardson instead of that chef, and you're going to put lots of reviews. And let's say you found the top 10 best restaurants, and you're going to call your restaurant The Fox. And so you cross that and you put The Fox, Alex Richardson's restaurant, The Fox, and just keep looking at that. And you write all over your mood board all the things that work for you. People love this restaurant, the best restaurant in wherever you live in the world. The food here is amazing. And then you look at lots of interviews with chefs, and you imagine your interview and you put it up there. You can even mock one up. That's what printers are for. So mock up an interview, mock up everything, and look at that mood board. Mock up all the things that you're going to cook that are going to give you pleasure. Mock up the cookery book you're going to write. Mock up so much stuff. You know, a couple of years ago I was asked to work with probably the angriest kid I've ever worked with in my life. And when we started to work, he said, you know, no one loves me. I have no love in my life. And I realized that his anger was actually incredible pain, but I talked to him and I asked him what he was good at. He said nothing. So I asked him what he loved, and he said cooking. So we talked about that a bit. And he's ended up being a phenomenally successful chef. He's got a great girlfriend. He went to work for other chefs. He's now got his own restaurant. His life has changed dramatically because I found one thing that he loved and focused on his purpose and the reason he was here. And he loved cooking so much that I knew straight away that that's what he was meant to do. And now he's doing it, and his life has changed 360 degrees. Mood boards have been proven over and over again to stimulate your brain, to excite your imagination, to keep your focus on where you want to go.
Now I've got a special bonus clip from Marisa on how to make a choice that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what is the belief that you have that you need to reprogram? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you made it this far in the video, you're still here watching, give me a hashtag believe down in the comments below. I want to celebrate you. We don't just watch videos here, we do something about it. So give me that believe in the comments below too.
I know that people say to you a lot of times, yeah, sure, okay, this is easy for you because nothing bad has ever happened to you. But you actually had I'm so curious to know how you characterize it. You had cancer.
Twice, yeah.
I was going to say battle, and then I thought, I don't know that she would say that.
Yeah, I didn't use the word battle.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So, one, I'd love to hear how you do conceptualize it. And then how you dealt with it, I think would be really powerful for people.
People do look at me and say, well, you've had an amazing life. But, you know, my life wasn't awful. My father was a headmaster. He was very invested in other people's kids. I just felt like this kind of hideous blob that wasn't interesting to him at all. And both my parents told me I should be a nanny because they obviously didn't see any potential in me at all. But that isn't to diminish them, because I wouldn't change anything about that, because it made me have that I'll prove you attitude. So I was told I could never, ever have children. And if I got pregnant, I would never carry a baby to full term. I remember hearing that, thinking, you know what, I have to not let this in. And that's very important to make a decision. I will not let that in. So when I was told I couldn't have a baby, I thought, I'm not letting that in. And when I got pregnant, I was told many times, you're going to lose the baby. She's going to be born with something wrong with her. And I talked to her all the time and told her to grow perfectly, and she did. And when I was told I had cancer, I mean, of course, it's a horrible thing to hear. And I did spend the first 2 days thinking, oh my God, you know, well, where am I going to go with this? But because I've taught my mind for so long to only go towards positive, I found myself on day 3 singing this song. And it was that song about, you know, that song, I feel pretty and witty and wise, but it was saying I'm healing and my body is healing and it's healing all the time. And I just made a decision to tell my body, look, you're going to do wellness now. And so I started to do wellness, and I visualized healing, and I visualized it being very contained, and I visualized myself bouncing back. And 3 weeks later, I was on stage in Costa Rica. Not because I'm super, because I told my body, listen, I haven't got time to sit in this hospital bed with medication, do wellness. I really did command my body to recover. And it sounds like it's all right for you, but again, you have to understand the rules of the mind. Your body does what it says. If you go, I'm ill, I got cancer now, it's bound to come back, and always looking for signs. People say to me, you know, I'm a cancer survivor. I'm like, oh no, I'm not, because I don't have it. So I was obviously surprised when I got it again, but I just had to do the same thing and say, that's it now, twice is enough for anyone. I'm done with that. And I don't refer to it a huge amount. But I started to think maybe it was good for me to get that, because I can look at other people and say, listen, you always have a choice. I mean, I went home the very next day. They gave me a carry bag of drugs. I'm like, what are they? I don't need those. I didn't take any medication. And I just kept telling my body, but I wasn't in any pain.
Did you do chemo?
No. I wouldn't
No
do
drugs, no chemo.
No, no.
What was the actual treatment?
I had surgery twice to remove it, and
Okay.
actually the second time, I now think I didn't even need to have done that. I could have
Did
done
they
it
want you to do
myself.
chemo?
No, I was very lucky. I got it early on enough that I didn't have to do it, but I don't
Wow.
think I ever would do that. Not to diminish
Really?
other people who have, but again, it's that choice. Tell your body to do wellness, and I kept telling my body, kill the cancer, annihilate the cancer. Never called it my cancer. That's my cancer. It was I've got my cancer back, or I'm going for my cancer treatment. And when you prefix something with my, you own it. Like you could look at my shoes, aren't they cool? Or got my great T-shirt. But when you say my migraine, my headache, my illness, my terrible memory, if you put the word my in front of something, it's yours. And if you call it the, it's not yours. So I was very committed to never saying my. It wasn't mine. I didn't want it. I felt very lucky that I got it in an organ that I didn't need, that was completely dispensable. So that was good.
If you want 10 more awesome rules from Marisa Peer, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
It's not going to be adopted, it will
Kills it,
die.
yeah.
Or it just starves to death. And so we know innately that our survival on the planet is linked to not being rejected.